Well, here we are. Happy Tuesday, everybody. A MarkCast recap here. The Professor Andrew Murray, who is presumably watching this or checking in from a beach in Mexico here. We have John Lewis filling in today. John, I think this might be the most controversial weekend here. Lots going on. I feel like I've taken a heel turn. I'm a marked man going into St. Louis. What the heck is going on here, John?
Well, I think you've got a lot of Battlehawks fans out there who are heartbroken. And I think some of them feel like, well, this would be like going to my ex-girlfriend's wedding. I can't show up for this thing because I knew that my team, we were supposed to be there and we're not there. Now, let me give credit here. There are going to be a lot of Battlehawks fans who will be in St. Louis at this game, and good for them. But the ones who are just going to sit on their tickets, I mean, I think that's, I don't know why, because I understand that you're heartbroken and maybe you don't want to see them, but at least, and I've seen a lot of people selling tickets right now on social media, and that's fine. But like, you've got to back this league. Don't just back your team. You got to back this league if we want some viability here for a while.
Yes. So let's set the stage here today while people are joining here. Lots to get into. We will be talking TV ratings, attendance, game, both of the playoff games. I got a lot of thoughts about the Battlehawks game. We will be talking the championship preview. Keep in mind here, like and subscribe. So we have been trying to give away our tickets to the to our 3,500 subscriber giveaway. I did another drawing on Monday. The first winners were out of town, going to be now. I think the other people, no response. If you are on this stream today and you want to win tickets to the championship game, we are going to do it at the end of the show. I got to give these tickets away. You're going to sit with Andrew Murray. Maybe you're a Brahmas fan wanting to make this at this point. I don't know, but I need to get these tickets off my hands. So stay tuned, be subscribed, be on here at the end of the stream. We will do our wheel of names and we will give that away. Quick plug, we will be at live in St. Louis on Sunday. I think it's going to be noon local time, noon to 2, and then Anthony's going to get over. He's credentialed. He'll get in the box. I'll be in the box and all that stuff, but he wants to get over and do all his reporter stuff. So we'll 12 to 2, we'll do that. I think John Lewis is going to call in. Andy's going to be there in person. Anthony's going to be there. I think Mike Mitchell's going to call in. Greg Parks. We got to figure all this out because it's Father's Day weekend, the wonderful timing of all that. But so like and subscribe. Be a part of that. And then I want to make sure that we give away the tickets. So if you are in, it could only be one person, but you could be one of one on here, but I got to give these tickets away. John, what do you think about that?
I think that is really cool. And, we have talked about this before. It feels like why they scheduled this for Sunday, Father's Day. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot. It wasn't just some random, they weren't throwing a dart and say, let's do it at this time. But this really should be a Saturday game. Again, we've complained about a lot of things all season long, but listen, here's the thing. You and I have been around this spring football thing long enough to know if you've made it to a championship game, that's success. So let's look positively at this. And we've got a championship game Sunday night.
Yeah. It's a weird, it's always interesting, and I read a lot of the comments and the Twitter, and I got a lot of stuff muted. But when I kind of go through all the, the comments and everything and Facebook, and there's a lot of I think it's like a heel turn for me now with the Battlehawks, and greed's so negative because the Sea Dragon, I purposely wore this today. This is my brand new Jane Daniels jersey. Nice. I live thousands of miles from Washington, D.C. I have no care or concern. The comments that I would have about St. Louis and not showing up as it's windy here, as you can tell, would be the same comments whether the Sea Dragons existed or not. So it's really hard. I get a lot of that. But John, before we get too deep into this today, because we need to crown the San Antonio Brahmas as the XFL champions here, we've commented privately, publicly, a lot of other YouTube content creators using copywritten material. So I have a clip today. I hope we don't get in trouble for this, but I got to play this. And then hopefully we don't get copyright struck here talking about the San Antonio Brahmas season.
Finally, looking at the schedules, I predict both the Houston Roughnecks and Michigan Panthers to finish the season at 2-8, and the San Antonio Brahmas maybe just a single win, with Wade Phillips and company returning to Houston to get a victory in Week 7. That's how I see the inaugural year of the United Football League shaking out. What do you think? I'm sure you will let me know down in the comments. And tell me your predictions down there as well.
John, remember at the end of, I don't know if you've ever seen my favorite movie in the world, There Will Be Blood, Daniel Plainview, at the end of the movie there, he's sitting there, you sniveling ass, you sniveling. John, answer for yourself here. Brahmas,
I know.
XFL champions here.
I'm
We
he-
have people already asking for, would you like some salt and pepper for that crow you are eating? David Cromer wants to know.
Oh yeah, and Panthers. I was so down on the Panthers, and I said I'm here to take my whooping. So I get it. I 100% underestimated how good that I thought San Antonio was going to be, and I should have known better because I know Wade Phillips is a great coach. AJ Smith is such a good offensive coordinator. Chase Garbers I thought was just an absolute, like, who is this guy? And maybe Quentin Dormady is going to be the guy. And I just remember, that is a freezing cold take for sure, Abdul. There was no question about that. I said before, it was a fool's errand to do that, and I did it anyway, and here we are. But you're right. Listen, San Antonio, I think they have certainly proven a lot of people wrong, especially me. Not that that's very hard to do, but what Wade Phillips has done, and what's really cool is at 76 years old, he's going to be in like really his first championship game as a head coach. But I'm telling you, who's really mad about this might be, some San Antonio fans who didn't like my prediction. Who's really mad about this? Houston Roughnecks fan, and they should absolutely be angry because they got hosed in like one of the worst ways possible, other than, your Sea Dragons who got hosed. They don't even exist anymore. But it's like Houston had they had Wade Phillips, they had AJ Smith, they had a good team, which I think would have been a good team this year. And then they handed them the Gamblers basically, and they handed them one of the worst teams in the league. So I feel bad for them. I really do.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what's getting ready to
Anthony,
pop up.
only Washington Commanders fan would do that to John.
Thank you, Anthony.
So,
Thank
yeah,
you.
we get another Fly Eagles fly. So we get, but the BC Lions lost the kickoff weekend game against the Toronto Argonauts, so it wasn't all rosy colored here for the Markcast, but we will get into all of that here. So first off, news coming out today, because I think attendance, and then we have a question already from Philip talking future attendance. We won't do all attendance. We'll talk the games because I watched. Spoiler alert: we were at my brother's for my mother's birthday on Sunday, and I had the game on in the corner of the hall. I was watching the game the whole time here. So we'll get to all that. But talking here, playoffs, the XFL game, 1.274 million on Fox. Later game on Sunday, 1.1 million for the USFL conference game on ABC. That was the earlier game on Saturday, right? That was like noon Pacific, so 3 Eastern. I tweeted out, well, first off, congrats, both games over 1 million. I want to get your thoughts. I want to get people's thoughts in the chat about, what is the championship game? What do we think that TV rating is going to be? But I just tweeted, I said, I was told the Birmingham Stallions and Panthers got all the ratings. No, it's time slots and networks. It has nothing to do with the game. It has nothing to do with the teams. It has to do with the Sunday night game on Fox, better window, better ratings. You can gloat one way or another, but that's how I view it.
I'll agree with that to a point, but I'll also say that, it is ABC and Fox. There's no question about that. I do wonder if attendance-wise, if you had flipped these around, you probably would have gotten more than 30,000 alleged people in St. Louis and maybe more than 10,000 in Birmingham. But, what's really great about this, James Larson pointed this out in his article on Pro Football Newsroom, is that this is the first time that 2 spring conference championship games have gotten more than 1 million viewers. And Skip Holtz had his availability today, and I was on it. And I asked him, I said, when you see, I said, I know that you're probably more focused on trying to, beat San Antonio, but, I told him about the TV ratings, and he had a great answer about this is proving that this is something that is viable and that people are interested in. And Reed, you're right. I mean, it was on ABC and Fox, there's no question, but I still think that when you get that many viewers to watch spring football, it says something. And I think it says something positive about spring football and about the UFL and the presentation.
It doesn't hurt. I thought both games were really competitive and interesting for different reasons. Yep. Just the utter collapse of the Panthers to allow, however many unanswered points there to lose that game. And then I mean, what really felt, and Mike had said in our chat, and we had seen online, the Brahmas felt disrespected, and Wade felt disrespected, not getting or they felt disrespected for Wade not getting the Coach of the Year nod from the league, and then I think there was only 2 players for the Brahmas, and
Was it 2? I thought it might have even only been 1. Yeah.
and then, like they wanted to say that Mike Nolan got the coaching thing because he had to deal with multiple quarterbacks and injuries. Spoiler alert, the Brahmas had to do the same thing with Chase Carpers and Quinn Normandy and all that stuff. So a lot of interesting things with that. But, whatever it was, we'll get into the games. But, yeah, I mean, I thought both games were great and proved dividends for that. I am saying over under 1.5 million for the championship game next week, next Sunday. What do you think?
That might be a push because that's about what I was thinking of, about 1.5. Again, I wonder if this had been a Saturday game, if you might have had a little more, or even but Sunday at 5:00 Eastern. Yeah, I don't know. And by the way, let me tell you how much that I love my father-in-law. He wants to go out for Father's Day for dinner at 5:00, and okay, we're going to go. So I'm DVRing. I'm going to try to avoid, and then try to catch up on the game. But I will watch the game, obviously. But yeah, I think 1.5 would be really good for a Sunday afternoon game. I mean, if it's more than that, I think it's gravy. But I think 1.5 would be an absolutely that would be a great championship rating to me, anyway.
A couple of things here, and then we get into more attendance. I got some post your comments here. I'll pull them up here in a second. I see a lot of people posting the what they're thinking of the ratings. I don't understand the Sunday of it all. It's certainly easier for me to fly out on a Saturday, get in there late, do the Sunday game, but then flying back Monday. I think Dorothy, like maybe we could have done that, flown back Sunday. That to me is odd. The Sunday in general with the Father's Day also is odd.
Right.
I know historically, and the Grey Cup does that on Sundays. I'm not a fan of that. I think that you do the Saturday, give people the day off the next day, be able to travel back, whatever. Also, and we'll get into the St. Louis kind of with, are they going to sit on their season tickets or whatever? But if you remember last year, they had the bye week in between. So you had 2 full weeks of ticket sales going into the championship game, which you will not get now, which I think is also very interesting where, if you're let's say you were a Brahmas fan and you're like, well, we're never, okay, you win the game. Well, now I got to figure out here Monday, Tuesday, am I really flying to St. Louis this weekend versus I don't know. I didn't like the bye week last year. I thought it did a lot to kind of hurt the momentum because what the hell do you talk about for 2 weeks with spring football with a 10-week season? But in terms of getting those, because it was about 22,000. So that's kind of the floor here that we need to hope that the Battlehawks, and we'll get to that. But I think that's an interesting thing as well here with that wrinkle to not have the extra week to sell tickets.
And the Sunday too, on top of that, I agree, because if this game had been on Saturday, no matter who was in it, I probably would have gone, or certainly would have considered it a lot more strongly had it not been, on a Sunday. And I'm probably not the only one. But yeah, with that, having that bye week, you're right. But you also, when I see numbers like that, when we were talking about the one, over 1 million viewers, I don't know that you want to lose that kind of momentum, because really this is a TV product. We've talked about that a long time. I think this is more of a TV product. And when you have momentum and you had almost 2.5 million people tuning in to sample this product, and if they like what they saw, would they remember it 2 weeks later? Maybe not. So why not just go ahead and have it the next weekend? So, I mean, I see where you're coming from on that as far as fan travel and trying to plan for it. But also I see it from a network perspective is, why not go ahead and just go and try to, ride that wave and just go ahead and have that next week. And also it gives them an extra week in the off season to get ready to try to get this together the right way for 2024 or 25.
Well, no, and I agree with you 100%. I mean, I do think it's kind of there's pros and cons to both, and all of these, and whether you start the league in February or start the league in March or start the league in there's pros and cons to all of that, and that's why I think these discussions and being negative or being realistic about a lot of this, I think proves if you just sit there all day like, this is great, that doesn't do anything. But sitting there like, well, yeah, should they have the bye week in there? Should they not? What is the benefit? I think that there's just value to that, and where this is still, where they're still at the point where they can be nimble and change things. I just think it's worth brainstorming all that stuff. Abdul here, 1.8 million for the championship game. Christopher's checking in. He was the one that gave away the other other UFL championship tickets that we gave away, 1.5 million. Darren, TV ratings were fantastic. Attendance, meh. Mike here, above 1.5. I agree. I think 1.5 is the floor. Philip thinks you are on fire.
he liked the Houston Roughnecks thing.
Yeah, visit here. 2 million. I would do backflips in the Battlehawks press box if we get to my. And then Max for Sunday was the day they chose because there's damn near zero competition.
There's probably something to that. I don't know about what's the NBA finals looking like, or obviously I don't follow the NBA. I don't even know what would be happening on that Sunday.
Yeah, and you got NHL stuff, and I don't know what the Stanley Cup playoffs is as well. I mean, you're going to have it. They were against the playoffs the last thing. I mean, I'm just thinking, I always view the champ and like, again, they don't, obviously they view it more as a TV product. I view the championship game and that the CFL in terms of like, this is a traveling thing we do every year. It's a neutral site. You get people to come out. That's a boon that helps the league. People travel out, spend money, kind of all that stuff. It doesn't have to be that. They could say, we don't care. But obviously they chose St. Louis because they wanted the most people there. So like, I don't think that this was as big of a conversation point last year when it was San Antonio. They had about 15,000 all season, where we're putting it in St. Louis because we want the most people there. So therefore, we are talking about attendance because it is in St. Louis.
Yeah, there's something to that. I also think that the UFL probably thought that St. Louis would, might go there and break another modern spring football record for a game. So, I mean, I get it. It is a football crazy town, but what we need to talk about and what we need to think about is, is it a football crazy town or is it a Battlehawks crazy town? So that's what we're going to find out on Sunday when we see the actual attendance there. Because I know I've seen, we just talked about it. I've seen so many people that are selling 6-8 tickets because they just knew the Battlehawks are going to be there, and now they don't want to go. So at least they're selling their tickets, I guess. But you got to have people show up for these games, because even, I mean, John DeFilippo has even talked about it. He talked about it when it was in the USFL, and he's, kind of talked about it as the Memphis head coach, that, it might not make a huge difference to the players, although, if you have, 10 to 15,000 or whatever, but when you've only got, 4,000 to 6,000 people showing up for the game, not only is it bad there, but on television, the casual viewer is going to look at that and say, well, I don't think this is very important. Yes. I think Dan Kaplan pointed out something in your show, and this was interesting, that the NFL actually took a ratings hit during COVID because people didn't want to watch football in empty stadiums. And this is the NFL. This is the juggernaut. So, I mean, I think if in St. Louis, if you're a Battlehawks fan and you had tickets, if you didn't sell them, don't sit on them. I mean, go out there and put butts in the seats and make this thing look good and make this league viable.
To say here, we're talking U.S. Golf Open's going to be on Sunday. Rock and roll here. Without bye week, everything's rushed. Again, I get it both ways, because I get it. Like, you don't need the media week like the Super Bowl does. Like, it's right. There's only so much on all this stuff, but I get wanting to give people kind of a chance to rally here. Robert here, I need to change my format. I'm a UFL hater. I don't know if changing the format would change. I don't think if we change the format of it. I was called an XFL hater when I said the season wasn't going to start on time. It didn't. Yep. I was a USFL hater when I said that. I was been a CFL hater. I've been an everything hater.
You hate every football league. I don't even know why you do this, Reed.
Now I'm a Battlehawks hater, even though I've never liked the Battlehawks. I thought that this has been known forever. Like, this isn't a new thing. I'm a Sea Dragons fan, like, or especially now, like a Brahmas. Like, you're a conference rival. Like, I hate Anthony Miller because he likes the Eagles, right? Like, that doesn't mean you're like, why would I like anything about that? It's just real stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, foosball here, constructive criticism. Mark Cast. Jared here reads a UFL lover. He attends many games. We're talking here. Yeah, Yankees, Red Sox, any of that stuff. All right, let's get to let me hide this comment. Yeah, I've been to, like, and to be fair, they've like, oh, the Sea Dragons. I've been to more Renegades games and probably DC Defenders games than I did I think I only made it to 2 Sea Dragons games last year. I've seen the Renegades like 3 or 4 times. I've flown to DC twice for that stupid team. Read here, face of hating seeing football. Yes, there we go. All right, totally. So let's talk here real quick. I mean, this has been beaten ad nauseum now, but this Oh boy. So this attendance here, the Birmingham attendance, and so full disclosure, I caught up on this game. I watched the first half, and then I had to dance. I was filming dance recitals on Saturday, and then I had to catch the rest of it when I got done. It was kind of right during that window. But I went on and I saw Mike's tweet, and then I tweeted my quote tweet to this, not the reply. And then I came back about 2 hours later to sheer chaos. But I was told the whole time, okay, Reed, the game last week doesn't matter when it really matters. And if it's under 12,000, and then we'll talk and all this kind of stuff. I know you have a lot to talk about this. I've kind of said my piece, and I'm sure everyone on here knows what I want to talk about with this. But I was told under 12,000, it was 10,287. What say you, John, Mr. Birmingham Stallion superfan?
And well, I can tell you, I was at the game the week before that they allegedly had 7,000 people. And it was probably more like 3,000 to 4,000. So when I see official attendance at 10,000, I think we all know that it was less than that. And I don't understand it for a few reasons. Birmingham it's a known brand, but I'll say this. I think I sent you a picture as well, Reed, when I was down there. I got there the day before the game. There is nothing on the outside. You saw this in Arlington. There's nothing outside to say there's a UFL game that's going to be played here tomorrow. It's a nice area down there where they've got what's called Uptown. They've got restaurants and bars and things just literally across the street, which they block off during game day. Those places had Birmingham Stallions banners out. There was nothing on the stadium except for a place that said UFL season tickets and UFL season media credentials pick up here. And talking to some people down in Birmingham too, they didn't even know when the team played, and frankly, some of them didn't even know who the Stallions were, which is surprising to me on a lot of levels because it's a brand that was popular in the 80s, and I understand that was a long time ago. But even now, are the marketing efforts just not working? That in Birmingham, of all places, which is allegedly the football capital of the world. And why is this not happening? And why are people not showing up? And, you've heard all the excuses too, Reed.
Oh, John, I've heard I've heard
thunderstorms. It's too hot. It's,
I heard they got to be here more than 5 years. I said, is there a clock somewhere at the city? Does City Hall have a clock, a countdown clock when this, I had, well, it's too, even though it's $10 tickets, but then they got to spend merch. I said, well, why do you have to, I go to the Mariners. I go to every day game here that the Mariners play that I'm off. I go to. We buy a $10 ticket. I eat lunch at home. I drive down there. I bring a empty bottle of water, and I fill it. I see a game for $10. Yeah, well, no, Reed. They got to buy all this. I go. You don't have to go spend $50 on food and $100 on merchandise. Go eat across the street. Go eat in your car. If it's that big, there's always, it was too wet. Then it's too hot. Okay. It's too late on the day. Okay. There's this going on. And it's, you don't see that. I mean, as much as we've poo-pooed on the St. Louis here, I mean, they show up except when it's too late on the Sunday, I guess, and they have school the next day. But I don't. It's the excuses I saw on this from this weekend was just absolutely astounding to me.
Yeah, and this is a USFL Conference Championship game, which means that you go to the league championship, and you've won back-to-back titles already. Even if you're the most casual of casual fans, you have to know that this game was being played. Why would you not go to an afternoon game in Birmingham? Who cares how hot? Did they not play in hot weather in the original USFL when they were drawing, tens of thousands of people to these games? I mean, I guess maybe there's a climate change debate gonna happen here, that it was hotter now than it was then. But I mean, I don't understand why this is happening. And maybe, we need to start asking these fans or lack thereof. And is there a marketing effort issue? Is there,
yes.
Are you not interested in spring football? Is it a foreign concept to you because it's only been around for 3 years? I'd love to know the answer.
Yeah. I got comments here. And I echo my comments last week. Again, this week, going into the championship game, 2 media availabilities for the Birmingham Stallions. There was Skip Holtz today that you were on. I was recording another podcast here for my actual work. And then there's a safety, a player tomorrow. I think I saw on there.
Yeah.
So again, it's fine. this is like, we're going into the championship game. Like, why is there not media call every day? Like, that's the thing as well, is how do you expect the media in Birmingham to care about this when you don't take it? Anthony said today that there was, 16 or whatever people on the Skip Holtz call, which at least shows that there's people interested in covering this league when you give them the opportunity to.
And Skip Holtz pointed it out. He said, it's great to see all these people on here that are, you're interested in the league, you're reporting on the league. He appreciated it. But I mean, and I always appreciate Skip Holtz on these weekly calls, because he gives you thoughtful answers. He gives you long answers. You could ask him the dumbest question in the world and he'll answer it for you. I mean, I asked a stupid question about TV ratings and he gave me an incredible answer. But wouldn't it be nice to maybe hear from the league MVP who's getting ready to play in the championship game? Seems like that would be an availability that you would you might want to have.
The league MVP that was benched and then still won, like, that's a story. Let's talk to him. Let's figure out what's going on with that. Let's talk to the new defensive coordinator. There's been a lot of changes there on that end. Let's talk about that. Like, there's lots of things to talk about. And as much as we privately bemoan the Brahmas and their things all year, they have plenty of availability this weekend or this week. You have all the coordinators, everyone set up, players, you have open request interviews. Like, that's what you want when you're based in Texas. You need to give people the opportunity to cover this. I just don't understand that. And I mean, if they want to be pissy about it and the Birmingham, like, then do better. Set up another call. It's not hard.
Yeah, I just, especially these days, because like you said, it's all remote. You're not asking a player or a coach to show up to do a one-on-one with a reporter, in a camera crew, or to go to a TV studio. You sit in front of a computer just like we are, and talk about the game. I do wish that there were more availabilities for this, because selfishly for us, I mean, we would certainly use it, but I would think that, that's some of these local affiliates who are, frankly, as when you worked in local TV, and I did too, this is a great time to find any kind of content to put on your newscast or your sportscast. And to me, it seems like in some of these markets that might actually be interested in Birmingham and in San Antonio and even St. Louis. I mean, it's like, why, let's try to build this up a little bit. And I don't think it would be that hard to do. Now, I don't have I don't have that job. They may be dealing with a lot of things that I don't know about, or we don't know about, but it just seems to me, hey, Adrian Martinez, who is an incredible interview, by the way. Talk about a guy who gives you some thoughtful answers. Put him in front of a camera right now and say, man, you've talked already about, like, this is frankly not where you thought you would be, but what a great step it is to get back to where you want to be. And now you're the MVP of this league. I mean, what a great story.
Well, and especially when, in all due respect, and we've heard this. I mean, this isn't just my saying this, but we've heard, the announcers don't necessarily always do the greatest job. I think that some are better. I don't want to paint everybody with a broad stroke, but we've heard this all the time with the broadcast, and all they're doing is talking about the over under, and they're talking about getting back to the NFL, all these kind of things. Like, if they're not going to be telling the stories, and that's fine, I get, and they're trying to like, I'm not trying to, but like, that might not always be the place, right? In the middle of the UFL broadcast, like, let's talk about, like, we're trying to paint the narrative, and like, do you want to talk about Adrian Martinez being disrespected during the broadcast after the play? I think it's fine. I think you can, but even if you don't want to, then set them up, whatever. Let Anthony write a deep dive for Sports Illustrated. Put it up on there. I mean, like, that's the kind of thing that's going to get these players known. It's free. We talked with Tom Murko about this before. Like, that's the kind of stuff that doesn't cost a penny, putting these players out when you're already all there. I mean, this isn't, we're in BC and the guys living in the other side of the whatever, and we're trying to get CFL people and they're driving, like, you're all living in camp. Anyway, I digress with all that. Anything else we want to touch on St. Louis, and then we'll get to the other stuff here.
But on a positive note here, give me Kevin Kugler and give me Joel Klatt, and not just to single those guys out, but I just did. But like, those guys don't parachute into these cities and just say, "Hey, somebody hand me a roster. Let's call a game." They know these players and they know the story. And Joel Klatt is he was one of the best analysts that there is out there. I would love to see, that kind of broadcast crew do these games, and maybe that'll change a little bit. I mean, there were some very good crews that called these games this past year. I think I said something snarky on your show before it started about ESPN play-by-play guy. I think it was Drew Carter, and I said I had socks, I think they were older than Drew Carter. he's really good. He has done some really good work there on ESPN. So, but I think there are some good crews, and then there are others who will, give you 15 mispronunciations in the 11th game of the season. It's like, guys, what are you doing the rest of the week? And it's a disservice, not just to us diehards. It's a disservice to those players and to the casual fans who are watching.
Appreciate Chris. Where does it go? Chris here gave us a super chat. Again, if you want to be a part of the giveaway here at the end, get 2 tickets to the UFL Championship Game. Like and subscribe. Be subscribed. You do a super chat, that'll get you an extra entry. Or if you join the channel for 99 cents a month, give you another entry. But we'll give you the instructions how to do that. Make sure you're subscribed on there and get all that. Last thing here, and I do want to get to the games. Robert screaming at us in the chat that we don't even talk about football on here, which even though we do the same format every week and we talk about TV and attendance, and then we do the rally, it's the same. I've been here this entire my life is all this. Like you wouldn't believe it. I really live my life just wanting to kind of get by day to day and just kind of not like, I just really try to live and just be happy. And
as Charlie Steiner said about when he says players are day to day, but aren't we all? We all just want to be happy and get. You want to talk about the Birmingham Stallions T formation? Is that what you're wanting to get into?
Well, we'll get to that. Here, last thing here, and because this is, and I put a poll out about this because this to me, this was surprising to me from Sunday night into today now, and especially following kind of what I've seen with the TV ratings and stuff today and comments on my things. So St. Louis here at 30,000, a lowest, or one of the lowest of the season, certainly lower compared to the playoff game. And I know that they did a lot of promotion behind that in the first playoff game in St. Louis in 20 years and kind of all that stuff. Surprising to me, but then what came out of it was after because I tweeted, of course, when the Brahmas won, like, well, this is a disaster for the league, right? Like they obviously, why would you, you wouldn't put the game in St. Louis, all this kind of stuff. And I had a ton of Battlehawk fans in the comments of that, like, well, we don't owe it to the league to show up. Like, why should we show up next week? Like our attendance has been taken for granted all year. I'm sitting out because of the season ticket. I got our season tickets, or we're going to be sitting at home. Like, I don't. It really took me by surprise because here all year it's been cheering, championing, supporting St. Louis. Like this is the flagship of everything that you want a football fan base to be. And then now that their team's not in it, it's like, well, you've just used us the whole season. Like you don't even care. Really, I was very surprised.
I don't understand that attitude from a couple of points. First of all, you were given the championship game there in St. Louis. Now I understand that, that you are if you're a diehard Battlehawks fan and it was just going to break your heart, you couldn't go back to the Dome and not see your team play for a championship. That's fine. But for anyone to say that the attendance was taken for granted, that doesn't make any sense to me, because anyone who has watched a UFL broadcast from St. Louis, what's the first thing they say, Reed?
Oh, look at the fans. A lot of fans.
Right.
We
exactly.
love St. Louis. Look at the fans.
This place is great. And listen, I've gone to a couple of St. Louis games, and it is an awesome atmosphere. It is awesome when they had a noon Eastern time kickoff. I was out in the parking lot at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, 7 Central. They're out there like getting things ready. I mean, double fisted Maker's Mark and Bud Lights, and they're having a good time. So the breakfast of champions. But that, but for St. Louis fans to say like that they're owed something, I don't understand that. Listen, kudos, because you supported that team. Now is the time to support the league that your team is in, because if you don't, you're not going to have a league. And you know what's going to happen if you don't have a league? You're not going to have a team. So I get it to a point, but I also have to say, like, go out and support the league that your team is in, or at least sell those tickets to somebody, because you want this to look good and you want this league to stick around, because you're football crazy. It's a football crazy town. And I think there will be a lot of Battlehawks fans there. Hopefully.
It's weird to me, and I want to see if I can pull up this real quick, because I do want to I do want to talk on the games here. I know that because we have fun doing all this stuff, but I do want to do all that. Yeah. We talked about this before we got on here. Yeah, this is a good map to show up here in just a second. Like when the CFL does this every year, where you have a rotating championship game. And so there's not, yeah, like this year, right? BC is hosting, and the presumption is, okay, BC is going to do everything they can to be in the game. Now, I do not think the BC is going to be in the game. That was my hot take. I think that they don't have the grit to kind of make it the whole way through. Whatever, but there's no expectation that your team, like your city's rewarded the game, so you go to the game and support the game, because it's like the Super Bowl. You go to the Super Bowl not necessarily, well, it's because I want the Rams or like the Chiefs, or like or what was it, the Rams Bengals. Like, I want to go be a part of it. And so it's weird to me to see that now, because that's always how it's been with the rotating championship game. And we saw this 2 years ago in Saskatchewan, where they were so upset that their rival Winnipeg was in the Grey Cup, that all the people that had bought tickets, they just sat at home. They didn't even sell the tickets. They just sat at home and kept it empty. And if you look on here right now, that is a ton of resale tickets.
That's secondary market right there.
That's, well,
wow.
The pink is all secondary on this.
Man,
remarkable.
And you know, Reed, you have to wonder, are these going to get sold? I mean, who's going to buy these?
I can't even give away tickets to the game, John.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, who's going to buy these tickets, and what is this going to look like? I mean, are you going to have another Birmingham? Well, no, I mean, you're buying these tickets, so you have to sit in your seat. It's like, are they going to start moving people over on one side so it doesn't look terrible? That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's what WWE used to do, is they would sell. We went to one to the Tacoma Dome, and they had it earmarked certain, and then if you got your ticket and went in, they would have a table there, and like, oh, no, actually, we're going to relocate you. I don't know. I mean, you'll have to see. I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, they've certainly done that at a lot of them. But yeah, scary stuff here. So let's talk about this. I want to, because I'm sure we'll touch more on all of this kind of stuff. But Stallions did what Stallions did here. I'm sitting there like, man, Michigan's going to pull this off. I mean, this is going to be crazy.
Oh, after that first quarter, especially.
Yeah, Birmingham came back here, scored, what was it, 28, 20, whatever, unanswered points. You know, you're the Stallions guy here. What'd you think of this? Was this the Stallions taking care of business, or was this the Michigan collapsing?
Some people might want to call it the Michigan collapse, but I thought this was more of a testament to what Skip Holtz can do and what he had to do with, for instance, I mean, we got you could hear him trying to coach up Adrian Martinez and making some really good points. I mean, he gives clinics when he has that mic on. I mean, probably when he doesn't either, but like, we get to hear some of this stuff. And he's, there was one point where it was like, it's going to be 3rd and 30, and Adrian Martinez throws this hot route, and he comes to him. It's like, listen, I don't have a 3rd and 30 here. And so you can't just get rid of the ball that quickly and hope for something to happen. So, so he had to make a pretty, might have been a tough decision for him, and put Matt Corral in. And Matt Corral kind of came in and saved the day. Now, he had one interception that really wasn't on him. It came off the receiver's hands. But to me, this was more of, to answer your question, I thought this was more of the Birmingham Stallions really kind of figuring it out, especially after halftime with Skip Holtz. And then you saw, like, what Matt Corral was able to do when he came in. And, and I don't think Adrian Martinez I don't know that he was pouting on the sideline or anything like that. Skip Holtz says he's not that kind of guy. So I think this was more of a testament to me, to Birmingham, but maybe, as you said, I'm a Birmingham guy, and maybe I'm more biased than that.
Well, no, and we had a comment here before. We had the Danny Etling collapse. I can't even find it on here now. We have too many different. I think it was David Cromer or whatever had said it. But yeah, I mean, the weird thing, Adrian Martinez, bench, was he hurt? All that coming back, with Corral, and now Martinez is the the MVP of the league, and I know Pat's taking umbrage of that, where it should have been AJ McCarron, because you saw what the Battlehawks were without him. Like, do you think that's weird now with the Battlehawks, or excuse me, with the Stallions? Like, would have been cool for some media going into this championship game. Like, I mean, does that make issues there? Are you is that more intriguing for you on that side of the ball now?
Not particularly, because I mean, quarterbacks just sometimes they have bad games. I mean, he didn't forget how to play football. He just was having a bad game. And it happens. And the question was asked to Skip Holtz. I think it was from Scott Adamson. It's like, how confident are you that you can pull another quarterback off the bench or two, or even start 1, 2, or 3, and not make a bad decision? So, we talked about that during the season or before the season. It's like, I mean, that quarterback room is something else. So I don't know that it really, it was I don't think it's a huge deal. I mean, sometimes quarterbacks get benched. They're not seeing the field. They just have a bad game. Or as you said, could have been hurt, not saying anything. They still finished with 365 total yards. That'll beat a lot of teams. So I don't know that it, I mean, some people might talk about it. It might be something to talk about as the game starts, as the broadcast starts. But, Skip Holtz said today that Adrian Martinez is his starter. And now, I mean, he also said, who knows what might happen, in the third or fourth series. So there could be some gamesmanship there, but it sounds like he's not lost any confidence in him.
Abdul here. Question. How short of a leash Martinez has in the championship game? Thoughts on that?
I think he's got a pretty long leash. I don't know. I mean, I don't think Skip Holtz would want, I mean, unless he's just having again, throwing hot routes on 2nd and 30 or 3rd and 30. I don't think he's going to do that again. I think he's got a pretty long leash because you don't want to break someone's confidence. I mean, even though this is the championship game, but what happens if he had, a couple bad passes. I'm going to put in Matt Corral here, and then Matt Corral, God forbid, gets hurt. What happens then? You put a guy that you just, ruined confidence in. I think he's going to have a longer leash maybe than some people might think. That I mean, Skip Holtz has coached a lot of football. He'll know the right length of the leash.
Yeah, I was going to say how did he's been in this before and obviously gone through all of this, but how did Skip seem in the media call today? Just kind of happy to be back. I know he's been super gracious and I mean, he is, as much as I want to rag on the Stallions, like talk about the poster for what you want to coach and anybody on the, that side of the ball, like could not have asked for a better representative than the first coach with the Stallions, that they announced back. And from the beginning, he's been the perfect fit there.
And as he said, he had the initial meeting, I think, with Brian Woods, and said he told his wife, he's like, well, I'm just going to go talk to him. And then he came back and said, well, I took it. And she said, took what? He goes, I don't know. I just took a coaching job. I don't even know where it's going to be. So it did end up being Birmingham, and how lucky were they? But you'll have no bigger advocate for spring football than Skip Holtz. And you'll have no bigger advocate for players than Skip Holtz. I mean, he's there to teach. You would think that, and we've talked about like what's going to happen, with Bob Stoops, what's going to happen with Reggie Barlow, what's going to happen with, Curtis Johnson, a lot of these guys. But to me, it feels to me like Skip Holtz has probably had some opportunities, and I'm sure some colleges have probably called after he had, back-to-back championships. And I even thought after 2023, I'm like, Skip Holtz is not coming back to this. But I think he is just he's in the right place. I think he's enjoying what he's doing. I don't know that if he would enjoy it more if he were actually in Birmingham, but there's no bigger advocate for spring football. And to answer your question, he was just like it was week one or whatever. He's selling the game, but not in a car salesman way. He was selling the game and like reasons why people should be interested in this. And, how good some of these other teams are. And he certainly was talking up San Antonio. I mean, he knows them. It's the one team that beat him this year. So he was great. And as you said, he was gracious. I mean, he talked to us for, I didn't time it out, but probably it was well over 30 minutes. It might have even been 45 minutes.
Does it, and we'll talk Brahmas here, but does it change, better, worse, stakes, whatever, Brahmas were the ones that gave the Stallions, is that, now do the Stallions know what to look for with the Brahmas here coming up in the championship game? Is it better or worse that that's their loss was to the Brahmas?
You can't tell me that there's not going to be some offensive wrinkles from both of these teams coming up. So now they certainly couldn't play vanilla because they had championship games last week. So I don't think there's that, but you've got to think that, and that's another thing about having that bye week. You can work in some, different kind of wrinkles in your offense when you have a bye week before a championship game, because you had to show probably quite a bit when you have these close games in the conference championships. But I still have a feeling that I don't know how much of a takeaway that is. And especially on a neutral field, it might help that they've played each other and they might know some tendencies here and there. And I'm sure they've scouted them for quite a bit here and watched a lot of film, but I don't know how much that you take away from a week 9 game. And then you had a season finale and then your conference championship. And there's a lot of things to work on between now and then.
To wrap it up here, we'll get to the Brahmas. Panthers, successful season. I mean, I think it exceeded expectations. I don't know. I put a pin in the Panthers for right now.
You saw my preseason expectations of a lot of teams that didn't come to fruition. But yeah, I mean, I thought like if Mike Nolan was going to have any kind of success, he was going to have to win games like 6-3. But what he did with it seemed like 17 different quarterbacks. I thought he deserved Coach of the Year, not just because of the way that he worked the quarterbacks, but because of the offense that he had, the defense certainly that he had, and the way that he coached some of these teams to win. I really liked what he did, and to go to a conference championship. I mean, I can't say that that's anything but a success.
All right, let's flip the page here. Let's get over to the Brahmas here, Battlehawks. And again, I didn't laugh at it, but I always because Mike was talking. Wade, they're upset. I know we talked about this in the voting, and they felt like we saw that this last year with the Renegades, and no one thought they were going to do it, and they kind of wore that as a chip going in. And I don't know. I always have a hard time with that of oh, we weren't on the all UFL team. Really looks like that was the case, and they showed up really ready to play. And I think the Battlehawks felt a little bit of well, we're here, we deserve to be here. I don't doubt Coach Becht, right? And it's the same. I feel similarly about the Lions with the CFL and anyone that follows kind of any of that stuff. But we saw this last year with the Battlehawks at home against the Sea Dragons. Opportunity to go to the playoffs. Fail. And we saw it again this year. And then come up short. And I don't know if that is a coaching thing, if that's a personnel thing, if it's a mindset thing, if it's a culture thing. I've lamented this with the Kraken the entire season this year. We don't have that killer urge, and I don't think the Lions have that. But this is twice now. Obviously, the week before, not the playoffs, but they missed the playoffs and all this. But basically, same situation, back-to-back seasons. Winner go home with the Battlehawks. They lose both times. What do you make of that?
Well, I'm not going to be a Battlehawks apologist here, but let me say we all know how AJ McCarron felt. He made it pretty clear on the broadcast that he did not feel very good. But don't take anything away from Chase Garbers now, because here's the thing: he threw for almost 200 yards in this game, and that was against the St. Louis passing defense that during the regular season, I believe, was number one in pass defense in for the year. So they did a lot of things to try to work around that defense, which I thought before the season the Battlehawks just kept adding these defensive players. Oh my God, I mean, these guys are going to be great, and they were really good. I don't know what happened with Hakeem Butler. He is such a good player, but there just seemed to be just a few times that either, I never played the position, so I'm not going to say that I know, but it's just it just seemed like the ball was right there and he couldn't make the grab. And there were a few receivers that happened with. And I know, again, AJ didn't have a great base to throw from because of that ankle, but he was doing a lot. Now, there was that stupid play where they had the throwback like a Philly special to him. I mean, I think that was on a conversion.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Also, why were you just take a knee before halftime too? And you saw what happened. So yeah, I mean, I think there were some coaching calls there that didn't make any sense and didn't help them out. But don't take anything away from the Brahmas offensively and defensively. And Anthony McFarland, I mean, my goodness, that guy, I mean, that whole offensive, those skill position players are just incredible. And, again, I had thought nothing of Chase Garbers, and that guy was playing with a wrist injury and still threw for almost 200 yards against one of the best pass defenses in the league. So, the Battlehawks, I think there were a few calls there. They didn't help themselves, but San Antonio was for real.
In terms of the AJ McCarron thing, I saw the clip because I had it on mute because again we were celebrating my mother's birthday. But
it's good your mother didn't need to hear that language.
Well, yeah, well, I love Brock. I'll email Brock, and he's been on the show, and I listen to him.
Yeah, he's great.
He does RCL Sports here, but it was but he gets it so AJ, how do you feel? I feel like well, okay, so like talk me through this. Like it's like Brock,
Right.
like because I had it on mute, but it looked like Brock walked up to AJ Smith at one point, and AJ Smith just said no and walked away. Like I was trying to go back and watch it on my phone
I
because
did.
I had it on mute, but it looked like he was like, "Hey AJ, can I talk to you?" And AJ just like, "Never mind," and just walked away. So, like. The sideline things is one thing, but you're in the middle of a playoff game here. I think that maybe that's not the case. The time and place for that.
Yeah, maybe not, but I mean, that's what you've done all season, and that's your brand. So, I mean, keep to that brand because again, more than 1 million people were watching this. So I know the game's the thing, and that's fine. But man, that million that were watching both of these games, the over 2 million, this might be the first time they've ever seen any of this. And when they see things like that, and yeah, God bless AJ McCarron, because that was great television. And I guess there was no 7-second delay button at Fox, and it just got on. I mean, we heard a few. There were several FCC violations during that game. But man, I mean, if that's your brand, like, yeah, stay with it. I really liked it. Sometimes some of you get those sideline interviews where the guy just had a 50-yard interception for a touchdown. He's not going to give you a whole lot because he's sucking wind. But those kinds of interviews, I thought it's good. It helps the brand, and it helps the people that we talk about a lot, the casual viewer.
Jared here says, I like the player interviews. We had another comment. Someone sad that we didn't get to see Brandon Silvers play this season. I will just give you a spoiler, everybody a spoiler. We might have a really good interview coming up with Brandon Silvers at some point. He's been on the show before. We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't want to overpromise anything, but my DMs were a flood this week, and could be interesting. So that's my quarterback back all the way back to 1990 or was it 2019 here with going into the XFL Dragons and all that kind of stuff. But we have here. AJ McCryan.
Come on, man. That's
worse than anything I've said about the Battlehawks.
You're right about that. That post game, man, was emotional. I thought that was great. And
he's like playing for his kids and all that. I saw
right.
That. My kid skins his knee when he's playing baseball, and I want him to get up, and it's okay. Like
I thought, listen, I'm old and sentimental. I thought it was good. Were you surprised that we didn't see Brandon Silvers or see him in a bigger role this year?
No, because I think he was in the perfect position last year with AJ, and AJ knew exactly what to do with that. Yeah. I think he fills a really similar role to AJ, right? Where he's not super mobile, and he's certainly older. I don't know how old Brandon is at this point, but I think he was coming in to just kind of help the room. He was part of it, take a paycheck, and I don't know how all that worked with him being inactive or the backup quarterback all the different times and all the amalgamations of that. But I don't know. I mean, to me, it's 1A and 1B, right? And AJ clearly is a better quarterback, at least at this point.
Right. Yeah. I just thought that there might have been a place for him somewhere that he would have a larger role. Just from what little I saw of him, in previous spring football incarnations.
We have here Christopher. Kleenex is a pretty good meme going around right now. I like that. AJ fits right in with all those crybaby Battlehawks fans. So we'll go here the hour. We're gonna start winding down, but again, it's enter now. I got to give away these tickets today. So if it's only one person in the chat, we're giving away the UFL Championship Game tickets. They're 50-yard line. They're row M. They're right behind. It'll be the Brahmas bench. You'll be with the Professor Andrew Murray. I'll e-transfer them to you. But if you want 2 free tickets to the UFL Championship Game, comment tickets in the video, please. At least one person. I have to get rid of these. I've been talking about this for a year now, it feels like. Comment tickets, super chat, give you an extra chance. Join the channel, but I got to have someone here today, John. We got to have someone that wants these tickets. Like, I'm not even trying to offload them on that, make a profit on these. I'm trying to get rid of them.
Trying to give tickets away to a championship game, the first ever UFL champion. Well, this UFL championship.
Good. We got one. Ja, so far, we got one here. You got 5 minutes. We'll do the wheel at the end. But Ja, if no one else, okay, we got 2. So we got at least 2. You got a 50-50. But, and, give the video a thumbs up for God. We got people just like a lot of work. And I'm getting like I said, John, all I want to do is get off this and go watch the Mariners win. Brian Woo's hurt our pitcher. Like, I have other concerns, right? This is like, I don't like, people think like I had someone today. Well, like your job with I'm like, this is not making a living. My 99-cent memberships is not making it, John. I can't handle this.
I donate 99 cents every month, and I am happy to do it. And I thought that was like your retirement fund.
It is my retirement. That's the only reason that John was on that.
That's right. Yeah. I pay to play.
Tickets. Okay, Christopher is going to try to win and give them away as well. That's fine. Jared, I've seen retail tickets for $7. This is my. I got lots of draws here. I got many hats on here. But anyway, I think we got 3 people. Keep doing that here, John. Let's start previewing here, and I'll start putting together this wheel here. But championship game, right? I don't know if this is, and believe me, I want the Brahmas to be there. I don't know if this is what we want in terms of the Brahmas here with the Stallions. Thoughts on the championship game? I know we're going to do our live show next Sunday, but initial thoughts on that.
Well, it's funny. I had a Brahmas fan on my channel responds like, I'm a Brahmas fan, but I would really like to see St. Louis in the championship game just because it would look great on TV and it would, help the league. So those people do exist. They're out there. I think this is a great rematch. Skip Holt said today, he goes, it happened. It was right. They got the best 2 teams. So he felt like San Antonio was the best team out of the XFL. Look, man, Christopher's like, he's like super generous with all this.
Yeah, that's good.
But
Philip's super chatting here. We got. I don't even think Philip wants tickets. But again, comment tickets. I got to give these away.
But I think this is going to be a great matchup. And in the last one, I think it was 18-9, and they held. And San Antonio's defense is really good. And actually, Adrian Martinez had a pretty good game, even though they only got into the red zone a couple of different times, and that was really the issue. They were like 1 for 2 in the red zone because of San Antonio's defense. So I think this could be a great matchup. I don't want to see an 18-9 game. I mean, I think it would be better for the league to see something that would be a little more exciting. I mean, there are good defensive games. There's no question. I remember there was a Seahawks. This was a long time ago. There was a Seahawks-Cowboys game that ended, I believe it was 14-7. It was one of the best games that I'd seen, in a long time. So it can happen, but I don't think that's what people will tune in to see. They want to see some offense, and I think those are 2. Hopefully, with Adrian Martinez and or Matt Corral, it's going to be Adrian Martinez to start. That's the plan right now, and then hopefully Chase Garbers is at least, I don't know about the wrist injury, but let's hope he's healthy enough to have another kind of game like he had against St. Louis. And I think this is a really good matchup. I mean, I made my pick on a video that I posted today. So if anybody wants to go see that, and as you can see, my prognostication skills are not very good, but we'll see what happens.
That's okay here. We have a couple comments here. Like I said, comment tickets if you want. We're going to do the drawing here in just a minute. Adding a couple more viewers on here. We talked about this off the top. What's the bar attendance now that the Hawks aren't in the big game? Well, it's 22,000 and change, right? That's what the San Antonio had last year. Do you agree, disagree?
I would disagree a little bit. I think it's got to be more than that. I think that's a good question from Mike. Like if you're going to get 30,000 when your team is in there, but this is a championship game, and I'm hoping, to see like some fans will travel there. I don't that can get there. I mean, this is you got to have 30,000 people there for a championship game. You just have to. But man, when you showed me that Ticketmaster map of the resales, and I mean that makes me wonder. And I think there's probably some nervous people in the UFL HQ right now.
Yeah, I comment that. Zach's checking in here. Zach's joining late. Zach, if you comment tickets, maybe I know Zach's got his tickets because he's a St. Louis guy, but maybe Zach's got friends that want free tickets. Zach, be a hero. Win the tickets for your friend. Let's get on
hero ball. Let's go.
And then a couple more comments. We're going to get out of here. This St. Louis is going to get smoked. No, this isn't even nice at this point. Jared, Brahmas were 13-1 underdogs to win the UFL Championship Game. I should have bet on it.
Well, what was it like plus 1,500 or something like that? Or was it plus 1,300? Is that what that was? Is that the 13-1? I was told there'd be no math.
Yeah, I don't. The betting odds are above me here.
Yeah, but I think I mean, I know like in early on the betting odds there, it might have been that might be what that is plus 1,300. So if you would bet $100, you get what 1,300 back. That'd been pretty good.
We got a trickster here.
Uh-oh.
Tix, JK, it's your wife, Dorothy.
I'm a little concerned that Dorothy is not a member of the channel.
Dorothy's well, I guess she's not. Well, it's 5:00 now. I guess she's off of work now here, but we'll get all that stuff. All right. Zach, I don't even know how to spell the word tickets. I worked on that joke all day. All right. So we're going to do, all right, this is it. We only got 4 people on here. We're going to give them away, and then John's going to get out of here. We're going to shuffle that. Okay, we're going to shuffle the names. We're going to hide this. Chris has got a 50-50, and then we got John and Ryder. We got to get rid of these. So here we go. The winner, email me, the markcastpodcast@gmail.com. We're going to e-transfer these over, and I'm going to be off this godforsaken. There you go, Christopher. We're going right back at you the odds,
baby.
So, Christopher, we'll just transfer him back and forth and give them to someone. We'll get out of here. Christopher gave the other ones. They're going back the other way. We got to move on here. Like I said, get subscribed to the channel. Season tickets, 2 packs going in. Yeah, sorry, Ja. Hey, Ja. Hey, Christopher, let's give him to Ja. Can we give him to Ja, Chris? We'll give him to Ja. Ja's sad. Ja came apart, all that. Let's give him to Ja. Ja, you said I'm overriding Christopher. Ja, send me an email, the markcastpodcast@gmail.com. Here we go. There, we're gonna take care of everybody today. Send me an email. Let's get all of that. But 2 season tickets next year, UFL game. If you're a CFL listener, we'll do jerseys and kind of all that stuff. John, anything else from you? I know you got your video up on your channel. Anything else that you want to touch on?
No, I mean, I just, you always ask that and people say no, and then they continue to talk for like 15 minutes. So I won't do that. But I will say, I appreciate you having me on. I think we talked about how, last year I thought was the golden age of spring football, where we had 2 leagues and they went all the way to a championship. And now those 2 leagues have merged. We got some really good football. There was some bad football, but we got some really good football. And I think we should all be positive about that. And we got to, what I think is a great championship matchup coming up Sunday night. I'm looking forward to it, and looking forward to getting on here and talking more with you and having you on my channel, and we can, complain some more about things that have happened. But, people do say we're negative. We're negative on a lot of things because we care about the league. There are some rah-rah people who want to say, you guys complain too much or whatever, but we complain about things because we care and we want this league to succeed. And I thought, my mindset has changed. I told you as the season went along, it was a little clunky on the rollout, but right now, we are, we're in a championship game, and I think things are even going to be better next year.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of Jaws. Okay, yeah, send me the email. There you go, buddy. Sit with Andrew Paul Murray, who is on the beach right now in Mexico, enjoying a much deserved vacation here. Yeah, I will just, my last comment on here, and I'm sure this is all people that are part of all this stuff now, but for people that come on every week and talk about the league, we get more views than anybody, candidly. I appreciate that, both on Twitter John gets videos that blow up. John does a very good job of that. But it's in terms of like these long form, like who the hell is listening to these idiots talk for an hour and a half? So I take that as a sign that like we are doing a good thing. So I appreciate that, and I understand, and we want more football talk sometimes, we want more whatever sometimes. I think we do a good job balancing with that. We had like Pat on last week. We did the whole 45-minute segment about the UFL playoffs. Like, I think we do a good balance, but yeah, I'll just say, like, if people weren't watching, then I would change what we do, but that's it. Like, I can't help it. This is what I am. I was born, and this is what I went to school for, and I try to be honest, and I try to be objective, and John's in the same thing and all that stuff. Okay, this is the last comment. We're gonna get out of here. Final predictions, you guys, because we're gonna do our big show here Sunday, so we can subject to change. But I mean, I want the Brahmas 100%. I will buy, if the Brahmas win the championship game, I will buy a Brahmas jersey. I haven't all season. I think I just have my Dragons ones because I returned my my Sea Dragons one. I have the big Sea Dragons. I returned that one, but I will buy a Brahmas. I want the yellow jersey. John, are you sticking with your Birmingham Pony Boys, or what do you say here?
It's very hard for me to pick against Skip Holtz and what he has done with Birmingham. So I really think that Birmingham Yes. To answer your question, yes, I think Birmingham is going to beat San Antonio. Would I be surprised if San Antonio won? Absolutely not. Here's the thing. I'm hoping for a good game, and Reed, let's just hope they all have fun.
And let's all have fun. And just in case anyone is curious about John Lewis's prediction.
Finally, looking at the schedules, I predict both the Houston Roughnecks and Michigan Panthers to finish the season at 2-8, and the San Antonio Brahmas maybe just a single win with Wade Phillips.
So there you go. Take it with a grain of salt. John, I appreciate it. John, I've already got your email. I'll send those over to you when you get off here. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Share the video. It doesn't cost you a penny. Give a thumbs up, all that stuff. We'll see you next time. Go Mariners. Thanks.